Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing another meal prep video with you. There are some keto friendly food items in here and there are some that anyone can use, so I hope you will stay tuned. The first thing I wanted to make was some iced tea in my Instant Pot. I'll go ahead and leave a link to the recipe I used in the video down below, but it's very simple. Basically, you just put some cold water in your Instant Pot along with some tea bags. And the recipe says to sprinkle a little bit of baking soda in there to kind of help the bitterness, and I really do think it helps. You just put it on manual high pressure for 4 minutes and then let it release naturally. Go ahead and take the tea bags out and then you can cool it to room temperature. When it's cool to room temperature, you can pour it in a pitcher and add some ice cubes, and then just make sure you taste it and make sure it's not too strong before you throw it in the fridge. If it is, you might need to water it down just a bit. So the next thing I'm going to make is some Instant Pot hard-boiled eggs. This is my new favorite way to make eggs in the Instant Pot. I use the 5-5-5 method. So essentially what that is putting the eggs in the Instant Pot on a trivet with a cup of water in the bottom. You cook them on high pressure for 5 minutes. You let it do a natural pressure release for 5 minutes, and then you put them in ice water and let them sit for 5 minutes, and they come out really perfectly. They're super easy to peel, and it's the best way I have found to make hard-boiled eggs. Even if you don't have an Instant Pot, I still think that hard-boiled eggs are a great thing to meal prep. I used to make them all the time before I had an Instant Pot, and I would just do the same thing, soak them in ice water, and they were super easy to peel. So the next thing I'm going to do is just wash some blackberries. How I like to wash my produce is to use this salad spinner from OXO. I will link that down in the comments, and then I soak them in cold water with a little bit of vinegar until they are clean, and then rinse them off really thoroughly. And then I like to pack them in a container and put them in the fridge with a paper towel to absorb any of the excess moisture. So one of the recipes that I was going to make this week called for some spiralized zucchini noodles, or basically zoodles, and I like to prep these beforehand. I just have a Veggies. I will link that in the description box below. It is definitely one of the less fancier tools that you can use to spiralize vegetables with. I want to invest in a better one, but for now this works fine for me. I think I got it for around $10 at Walgreens. But basically you just wash your zucchini and your yellow squash and make sure you trim the end off, and then you just basically twist it through the tool and it makes really long spiralized noodles. I like to just cut them in half once so that they're easier to eat. But we have been having this a lot lately since we have gone more low carb. I serve them with either marinara sauce or Alfredo sauce, or one night I even did like a meatball stroganoff, and it was really delicious. You can keep these in your fridge for up to 3 days in a Ziploc bag.
You make it so hard for a guy like me, rocking those hips like nobody. Yeah,
asparagus is another vegetable that I definitely like to prep ahead of time. I just basically rinse this under cold water and then make sure that I dry the asparagus thoroughly before I pack them in a Ziploc bag. I like to use paper towel. Just go ahead and trim the tough ends off, and then you can put them in a Ziploc bag and they will stay fresh until you want to use them during the week. One of the recipes that I was going to make this week was a Asian pork stir fry. And so when I'm going to make stir fry during the week, on the weekends, I like to prep all of the vegetables that are going to go in the stir fry. They store really well in a Ziploc bag in the refrigerator, and it's super easy to then take them out and saute them in the pan before you saute your meat, and then you can go ahead and put your whole stir fry together. It just makes making a quick meal after you get home from work really easy. And if I didn't mention it before, if you're new to my channel, I am a full-time working mom. I have 2 kids, 6 and 9. My husband works full-time as well outside the home, and so in order to have healthy meals, I really have to concentrate a lot on prepping during the weekend so that I can make it easier for myself during the week. And so you can see here I've just put the washed broccoli in a gallon Ziploc bag along with the red bell pepper and some onion. I don't mind having this all mixed together since it's going to be cooked together anyway in the recipe. One thing I forgot to add was a serrano pepper, which I'm just going to slice thinly and throw that in the bag as well. And then when I go to make my stir fry during the week, all the vegetables will be chopped and ready to go. Okay, so another thing I like to prep on the weekends is my lunch for the work week. In this case, I was making some sauteed chicken, and I'm going to go ahead and cook that up and slice it up for salads during the work week. I just marinated a chicken breast in some Caesar salad dressing. I marinated that for about 24 hours and then just sauteed it in a skillet with some avocado oil until it was done. I let it rest for about 20 minutes, and then after that, I just went ahead and sliced it very thinly. I'm going to go ahead and put that on a plate and let it rest until it's cool, and then I can pack that in the refrigerator for use in my salads. The next thing I am going to prep is some cherry tomatoes. I just like to wash these in cold water and then pack them in a container with a paper towel to absorb any moisture. If you guys have been watching my videos, you know that I love to wash my own romaine lettuce. I just go ahead and take any of the outside leaves off that might be a little bit wilted, and then I chop it up and put it in a salad spinner. I like to add a little bit of lemon juice to the salad spinner bowl, and then I soak the romaine in really cold water for about 10 minutes. It helps to crisp it up, and the lemon juice also helps to keep the romaine from browning when you have it in the refrigerator. So then once that's soaked, I just go ahead and spin it dry, and I store it in the refrigerator in one of the Rubbermaid produce keepers. I'll go ahead and link those in the comments below. They work really well. And then I just put a dry paper towel on top to absorb any of the extra moisture. So the next thing I want to do is just prep a couple of salads for Adam and I during the work week. I try to have things on hand in the refrigerator that both of us can take to work, because if we don't take our lunch to work, then we are more prone to make bad choices or eat out. So this first salad I'm making is going to be for me to take to work the next morning. I just put some lettuce in the bottom of the container, a few hard-boiled eggs, some diced grilled chicken that you saw me make earlier. I also diced up some ham that I had in the refrigerator. I put some shredded Monterey Jack cheese in there along with some sliced cherry tomatoes, and then I'm just adding a little bit of carrot and cucumber. For the dressing, I'm using this Cindy's Kitchen white cheddar dressing. You can go ahead and Google this and see if it's available in your area. I found it at a smaller grocery store, so I'm not sure that it's available everywhere, but if you can get your hands on it, it's really good. For Adam, I'm making a similar salad, except I'm going to use some homemade Caesar dressing. that I had made. I like to use those dressing cups. I get those on Amazon. I'll go ahead and link them below. They are super awesome to pack dips and dressings in to take to work. Super convenient, and you can just toss them when you're done. The next thing I'm going to meal prep is some ham salad. I have not made this in forever, and it really sounded good. I had some extra ham left over from a recipe I was making. So if you haven't made ham salad before, it's super easy. If you have a food processor, all you do is just grind up your ham. I like to add a little bit of Velveeta cheese, which is very kind of unusual, but it's something my grandmother always did. And so I just add a little bit just to pay homage to her. But basically your ham, when it's done, should be ground really fine. And then all I do is put it in a bowl. I went ahead and added some mayo. You can use Miracle Whip or mayo depending on what you like. I also added some dill pickle relish along with salt, pepper, some ground parsley, and some onion powder. And then I also like to add a little bit of Splenda as well to give it a little bit of sweetness. The main thing with any kind of salad or dressing or really anything that you're making is that you just mix it up and taste it and kind of add what you think is missing. So in this case, I thought that there was a little bit of mayo missing along with some salt and some pickle, and I will also add a little bit of Splenda as well to make sure that it tastes just right. So with this ham salad, I wanted to prep a few bento boxes. I like doing this because it's just a great grab and go option either for our lunches or if we need a quick snack. So what I'm going to include in these along with the ham salad is some sliced cucumber. This is a great option to use as a substitute for crackers if you're going keto or low carb. So the ham salad spread on the cucumber is really, really good. I actually just had one of these for my lunch today and I loved it. I am also chopping up some Havarti cheese to include in there as well. So I'll just put the ham salad into one of the compartments in my glass container. If you're interested in these, I really like them. I have had them for a while. I will link them in the comments below. And in one of the other compartments, I'm just going to put some sliced cucumber. And then in the other one, I'm going to add some cubed Havarti cheese along with some salted almonds. So this is a great high protein, low carb lunch that you can take to work with you or take to your kids' soccer or baseball practice. It's just a great option if you're looking for something like this. Next, I'm going to be making this recipe for the low carb sausage and egg puffs. I'm just starting by sauteing some breakfast sausage in a skillet, and then I'll go ahead and drain that while I grate up my cheese. So this recipe is basically, you can use it for any meal, but what we've been using it for is for breakfast. It's essentially just grated cheese, sausage, eggs, and coconut flour with some seasonings, and then you bake them up in the oven until they're nice and puffy, and then we just store them in the refrigerator, and you can heat them up in the microwave for about a minute when you're ready to eat them. And they're really good. They're actually really even better with some hot sauce on top. So how I'm going to start this recipe is just adding some eggs and some melted butter to my bowl along with some sour cream, and I will link the recipe for this down below if you're interested in printing it off. But you just want to whisk that together until it's nice and combined, and then you can add your salt as well as your garlic powder. The garlic powder is optional, but I really think it does make it taste a lot better. And if I would do this again, I would also add some hot sauce to it as well. You also want to add some baking powder, and then you can add your coconut flour as well. All right, so once that mixture is combined, you can go ahead and add your drained sausage. I made sure that I drained the sausage really well before I added it to the mixture, and then I also added my shredded cheese. You can see in this recipe, I went ahead and shredded my own cheese, but if I had it to do over or next time I make these, I might go ahead and buy the shredded cheese because that has a little bit of starch added to it. And I think that would help these sausage puffs stay together a little bit better. But once that is thoroughly mixed, then you just want to get a baking sheet and add some parchment paper to it. There's no need to grease it because there's plenty of oil in these sausage puffs already. But I just rolled them into balls and put them on a baking sheet. They won't spread out very much, so you can kind of put them a little bit close together. But you can see here that I got about 19 puffs out of this batch. So then you just want to go ahead and put them in the oven and bake them. And then when they're all done, I just let them cool on the baking sheet for about 10 minutes before I remove them to a container. But they're really good. I think there's a recipe for sausage puffs with Bisquick, and I'm sure that these taste similar to that, but obviously these are a little bit more low carb. So like I said, we've been eating these for breakfast. I do think that hot sauce helps cut down on the taste of the coconut flour, but both my husband and I have liked them pretty well. The next thing I'm going to prep for the work week is some fancy blue cheese dressing. This came out of my Cooking Light magazine. So what you'll need is some blue cheese, some garlic, some apple cider vinegar, mayonnaise, lemon juice, some chives, as well as some Worcestershire sauce, some hot sauce, salt and pepper, and sour cream, as well as some half and half. I made a few substitutions in this recipe. I believe that it originally called for diced shallots. I didn't have any of those on hand, so I went ahead and used chives. And then the recipe also called for buttermilk, which I didn't have on hand. And since I wanted to make this low carb, I went ahead and used half and half. And so this recipe is super simple. If I can find the link to this, I'll post it in the description box below. I know sometimes that they do have their recipes online, but essentially you just want to combine everything in a bowl and mix it up really well with a whisk. So what I'm using to cut up the chives here is this pair of herb scissors that I got for Christmas a few years ago from my mom. If I can find a link for those, I'll post it in the description box below. They're my favorite thing to cut chives with. It's just so easy to snip them right into the dish that you're making. So I'm just finishing up adding all of my ingredients into this bowl. I'm making sure that I use a bowl with a spout because I'm going to end up pouring this into a mason jar to store in the refrigerator. And if I make this again, I will probably use either my food processor or an immersion blender. You don't really need that. Just keep in mind that if you're going to use a whisk, that the blue cheese will not break up in the dressing. It will stay a little bit more clumpy, which is fine. It's just a matter of preference. So I'm just going to go ahead and whisk this up. And then once I tasted it, I realized that it needed a little bit more sweetness. And so I added about a half a packet of Splenda, but again, that's totally your taste. You can taste it and decide which way you want to go. So once that's done, I'm just going to put it in a mason jar with a lid and store it in the refrigerator. The last thing I'm going to meal prep is some low-carb blueberry muffins. These I will go ahead and link in the description box below. You'll need some vanilla, some salt, baking soda, some baking powder, some unsweetened applesauce, just 4 ounces of that, along with 3 eggs, some stevia, some coconut flour, some almond flour, some coconut oil, and some fresh blueberries. And then I like to use the silicone baking cups for these so that they don't stick. So this is basically a traditional muffin recipe, except you're going to use almond flour and coconut flour instead of regular flour. These actually ended up turning out really good. They don't taste like a traditional, blueberry muffin per se, but I definitely think they are a great substitute. And I think that the coconut flavor from the oil and the flour really adds to it as well. And so basically you just want to mix up your dry ingredients in one bowl until those are well combined. And then in the other bowl, you're going to mix up your wet ingredients. So go ahead and crack your eggs into that bowl along with your stevia. I get my stevia from Aldi. It's a great price and it's great quality. So definitely check out Aldi if you're doing low carb or keto. They have a ton of great options there that are easy on your budget. I'm also going to add my vanilla and my unsweetened applesauce along with the coconut oil. The recipe told me to use a electric mixer on this, but I definitely think I could have used a whisk. So just keep that in mind if you're making it on your own. I don't think you necessarily need an electric mixer to make this recipe. So once the wet ingredients are combined, just go ahead and add your dry ingredients along with the blueberries, and then you just basically want to mix this up until it's well combined, and then let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes before you put the mixture into the muffin cups. Coconut flour tends to expand the more that it sits with the wet ingredients. So just to make sure that everything is well incorporated, just make sure you do that step before you add it into the cups. And so you can see there that I lined my muffin tin with the silicone cups. I will link those in the description box below if you're interested in purchasing them. I use them all the time. They are a great investment. I just sprayed those with a little bit of nonstick spray, and then I'm just adding the batter to the muffin cups as evenly as I can. And then I flattened down the tops just a little bit because I didn't want anything to burn. And then I'll just go ahead and put those in the oven and bake them as directed. Okay, so here are the completed blueberry muffins right out of the oven. They are super soft and springy. I'm going to show you what Connor has to say. All right, Connor's going to try one of the blueberry muffins. Is it good? Good. What is it? Does it taste like sweet?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right, 2 thumbs up or 1 thumb up? 2 thumbs? Good. Okay, so the fact that one of my kids liked them was actually a bonus for me. I didn't expect them to. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and take these out of the muffin cups once they are cool. I went ahead and stored them in an airtight container, and then my husband and I have been taking them for lunches and breakfasts just in a Ziploc bag whenever we decide to during the week. So thanks so much for watching today. If you're new to my channel, I post a grocery haul and meal plan every Friday, along with many other great videos during the week. I like to do cooking videos, cleaning videos, shopping haul videos. So I would love it if you would subscribe to my growing YouTube family. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.